by introducing ourselves, since there's a couple of new people. I'm Anton, and we go around this way. If you want to just introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jane. I'm one of the co-organisers along with Anton and Henry.
As Jane's already mentioned, I'm Henry.
I'm Sonia.
Chris.
I'm Heather.
Winnie. Hello. Hello everyone. Thanks for coming. Don't know if everyone has fed the piggies with a £4 donation. If you haven't, you feel free to do so. They're on the table. Today's topic is focusing on the devil card. And actually, I was going to start a little different, but I'm going to start with the comments that were actually on the meetup website, because I thought that was quite interesting. I don't know if any of you read them. There were a couple of comments, one from Eva and I think Sonia, you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. That basically were asking if the devil is healthy, unhealthy, if it can be a wedding of sorts. And I thought that was quite an interesting introduction for the devil, because if you look at the devil card from a traditional point of view, then you almost have to think at the church, non-denomination, it could be Church of England or Catholic Church, and thinking of the devil as the enemy, which is like my handout starts as eliminating it as an old foe. Now, if someone was to ask you that the devil card was healthy or unhealthy, what would you say? As a general, as a card. Say if you just drawing it out as a one card.
Potential unhealthy. So it could get unhealthy.
It could get out. Yeah, I agree with that as well. But in general, and as Chris said, depending on how it falls in the spread, which position, how important the position is, where it is, and so on. Obviously, those are always factors that you have to count. The general meaning of the devil card, and I kind of put a few together in here. They're not exhaustive, but they are the most, I think, they are the most common. Being obsession, dependency, addiction, depression, marriage. The reason I put marriage in with the stuff is because it could indicate a marriage. So say if you were having a relationship reading and the outcome was the devil, it could signify marriage, but would it signify happiness? Personally, I would very much doubt it. It might be a relationship that is codependent or abusive, or simply where one dominates against the other. So, yes, you would have, I think, you would have to give the reservation the doubt of saying, yeah, you could get married with this person, but because it's the devil, it signifies a union of sorts, but it might not be a very healthy union. Abusive relationship, of course, victim mentality, two-sided, phobias, sexual addictions. I wasn't quite sure how to approach this, how to put down sexual addiction. It's actually more varied than that. It's not just sexual addiction as in wanting sex all the time. I see the devil also as being either obsessed with sex or completely asexual, where you just have whatever issue you just don't want to deal with sex. Rape, temptation, and ego-based selfishness, the selfishness coming from your inside. Now, I was going to bring lots of devils here today, but I didn't really want to go through 85 decks, which is what we got at all. So what I did, I brought two, which are a dark one and a light, sort of a light deck. One is from the Tarot Illuminati, and the other one is from a tarot deck, which was H.P. Lovecraft inspired. It's called the Book of Azathoth. And if you just want to pass them around.
never look at both.
A few years ago, I had a devil come up to me in a reading I had to do with relationships, and the person said to me, you know, there is this common saying that the devil changed the lovers. And if you notice in most decks, most of those decks actually depicted that way, but not all. You will see that generally speaking the devil, however is represented, will have two chains, and he will have the two lovers chained, either together or separately, but they are chained to him. So, for example, they'll have a chain collar or handcuffs or just a chain. But then if you think that the lovers is not necessarily a kind of relationship, the lovers is also a kind of choice, then you go into something more in-depth meaning for the devil, because if you change the lover and you change your choices, it would probably mean that the choices you make, not probably, it would mean that the choices you make dictate what the outcome will be. So for example, if you have an addiction, then of course you're sort of a slave to that addiction, and it will hinder you in certain choices. If you're in a relationship that is abusive or where you have a very low self-esteem, then that will change your self-esteem even more. What Sonia said earlier, where there is a healthy meaning to the devil card, yes there is, if you look at it from what I believe Carl Jung saw it. Carl Jung saw the devil as the union of your light side and your shadow side. He saw it as a perfect balance, basically. The in-between, where you can balance your shadow being your subconscious, and your not what you're not aware of, and the light side being your everyday persona, what you do in every day, what you present yourself to the world. All of us have shadows. The repression of the shadow causes illness in general, either mental or physical. I mentioned in the handout that the devil could be also related to the so-called psychosomatic illnesses, where you are repressing something to such a level that it then feels the need to manifest physically. I don't know if you are familiar with psychosomatic illnesses, but for example, psoriasis is one. Very often it's psychosomatically started. Migraines, however you say it. If you think of the devil as the union of the two balances, if you have an imbalance, then automatically you lose the balance, because if it tips one way or the other, then there is too much of each. So, if you are reading with the devil as a card, generally speaking, I wouldn't see it as healthy. There's always something there, even if it's just a simple notion that there's something you're not acknowledging, there's something you're not seeing, there's something that you really, but you're not really want to acknowledge. In the terms of a very simple but not nice example, for example, you're in an abusive relationship and you make an excuse for your partner. Your partner hits you and you go, well, you had a bad day at work. So that's the shadow saying and making excuses for yourself. The problem with Carl Jung's version was that he got kind of not criticized, but this because obviously most of Europe at the time and even now follow a particular religion, Church of England, Catholicism, etc. So his idea that the tarot card of the devil could be a duality and represent both. So when it comes out into a reading, you need to address those particular issues with the client, with the querent. It was kind of not laughed at, but criticized and suppressed, because the devil in the church we all know what it is. It's Satan, is the foe, is, you know, if you embrace the devil, you're going to hell, etc., etc.
In a devilish manner. It was repressed in a devilish manner. Exactly like the card.
Exactly. And the only thing that leaves me still a bit confused is that expression I used before, which was the devil chains the lovers. Because the lovers not necessarily is a relationship card. So by saying that, you almost imply that the lovers have to do with sex and being together, which can be, but not necessarily. I see the lovers a lot also as a card of choices. So that leaves me a bit confused, but you might have other opinions.
I thought on that. If you're saying if lovers is about choices, and the devil is chaining them, therefore the devil is constraining choices. Therefore, you feel chained to events, you feel chained to a situation, whereas on most devil cards, the chains are actually loose and you can get out of it if you want to, but you can't.
Or you won't.
Mentally you can't, or you won't.
It is,
you
I
actually
feel
can.
that it's very much your own doing.
Yes.
Yeah. In the devil. Whatever the issue it is very much your own doing. It could be that you have been unwell and you're not strong enough to face whatever you're facing. It could be that someone else is dominating you. It could be that the environment is dominating you. Perhaps you're in a job where you feel chained. It could be a
drug addiction.
Things. Drug addiction, sex addiction, any addiction of sorts.
Well, sometimes people don't realise that they have choices. They think that fate has dished this out to them.
But that was your point.
Yeah.
That was to go there then, you presented the devil in a particular reading, in a particular manner, then you need to acknowledge it, go out and face it. But how many are actually prepared to do that? And then also consider that in some issues it could mean professional help as well, depending what the issue is. It could be that it's just telling you to go and seek help and go and see someone, you know, a therapist or so. Yes, I do.
Well, it's like maybe it's also you're not sure what the choice is, which choice is the best choice or which choice is the right choice. Sometimes, I mean, not all situations are clear. So it's like, well, what's the right thing to do if they both could be painful at the moment? How do you get past that to know that that's the right choice?
See, the devil, I can see what you mean, but I don't see pain there. I see pain, but, oh God, what's the
You
word?
put it on yourself, maybe?
Yes, and also it's internalized pain. Is the pain that if you have, for example, an alcohol addiction, you just make yourself feel better by drinking more, but you don't see that you're harming yourself. You see it as, oh, that's all right, I feel better now, or taking pills or whatever makes you feel better. It's not the pain of, say, the Ten of Swords, where you're like physical pain, figuratively.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't really, there is a word, but it's escaping me at the moment. I can see
Like anguish or like...
it's not being able to move on from that pain.
And that's why you need the
stuck.
tower.
It's
Follow
inertia.
it.
It's-
Yes. Yeah.
Because remember, what comes after the devil?
Tower?
Exactly.
That's what you were just saying, wasn't it? Sonia were just that's exactly what Sonia just said. That's why you need the tower.
You mean the tower because you keep going. You keep giving into your addiction.
Well, it forces the issue,
It
doesn't
forces the issue to the point that eventually either you get ill or you have to change and face change in a very drastic way. But then you got the star.
Yeah.
So it is, I actually think it's one of the, together with death in the tarot, it is one of the most interesting cards. And not because I like the dark side or so or anything like that. But
yes, you
because
do.
I do, yeah, of course I do. But it's not just that, it's because to me, and this is my personal opinion, so you don't have to take it, but I go with Jung. I mean, I love Carl Jung for his theories and what he brought to the world of tarot and dreams as well. we all need to acknowledge that we have a shadow. We all do. It could be the shadow that, you know, you're very moody, or maybe you do things that you have double life, whatever it is, we all have it. And the issues and the problem, and any psychologist or psychotherapist will tell you that, is when you repress it. I'm not suggesting that you go out and kill people or anything like that, but when you repress stuff that is naturally occurring to you, like emotional stuff, then you automatically internalize it, and you might not feel it, but it might bring up other issues after that. To me, that is the perfect definition of the devil. Is keeping you chained, it's not making you move on. And before I forget, as I put it here, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sort of personality, where you've got the both, and eventually one of them is going to
So you pass from the temperance to the devil, and then you need to tower it out.
Yes.
Oh, you don't even need to reach the tower. You can, it depends what it is. If it's something you can face, if you're having a reading with someone and you're having a relationship problem, like I was talking earlier about abusive relationship, and that reading makes you realize that, hey, you're not really seeing it and it's abusive, then maybe you can go and seek help. Then you won't really reach the tower. You might go to more
It's
towards
still
death.
sudden and kind of violent in the sense that you suddenly realize it. So it is a small tower, but it's still there.
It's more like that, but it's more slower. You come to a realization, and you're taking action. You're being proactive. You're not being chained anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you're proactively doing something to change the situation. I was going to ask you though, Henry,
Yes.
since I don't know much about it, because obviously we're talking mostly Rider-Waite, but like I said, I couldn't bring all the decks, but not all the decks depict devils and lovers chains. Some of them are abstract, some of them are a bit different. Could you tell us about the top? Is it any different from what we're talking about?
It's like what Carl Jung has said about the uniting the conscious and the shadow side, but Crowley goes on a bit more than that. Is after you, because your shadow side is not necessarily bad. It's just it's often just stuff that we dislike about ourselves that we feel guilty of. For some people, it can be being too emotional, being too nice. You know, so that can be a shadow side, believe it or not. But the argument is that when you reconcile that, and that's what the meaning of salvation is. You forgive yourself, you reunite the repressed self, and then it unleashes a inner creativity in you that you never sort of found before. And for the Thoth, the devil actually represents sort of ambition, creativity, stuff that you want inside your own soul. And the reason why it's depicted as the devil is because when you are technically enlightened, when you're seen by other people, you're seen almost as a freak, because you're saying things that because other people they don't have this attainment. They're still thinking in that light and dark mode of thinking. Whilst with you, everything's when you unite the shadow side with your light, then you think in terms of everything's all equally nice. There is no good and evil, and so I thought it's all about. Then when you do that, you know what you want in life. You know your place in it, and that's why in the Thoth it represents ambition. It's the one you're born with.
It's your challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds a lot, very much like Plato in the cave.
And I think a lot of what the problem with the Rider-Waite is that we are stuck in the archetypal imagery of it. Which is why I wanted to know about the Thoth a bit more.
You also have to think of Waite himself as a Catholic. So
yes, exactly.
He's
And
still very limited.
I think he is very Catholic. His devil is a goat.
Yeah.
Is the archetype of whatever horror film you see saints about.
The goat of Mendes.
It's the goat of Mendes, yes. And he changed the lovers. because for the Catholic it would have made sense. Sexuality was very, very repressed. So you kind of get stuck in that, which is why I really, really like the Jung interpretation, and you can apply it to any other way to place that.
Devil without the no lovers in the.
I like the devil in the Vanessa deck.
Sorry?
In the Vanessa deck. It's
Oh, the
only
Vanessa.
Yeah, it's only
Again,
the
this
man
is
who's
what we
changing.
recommend this as well.
And the woman is she's kind of the devil. And
Oh gosh, yeah, that's like a real temptation card, isn't
Yeah,
it?
which one's
Yes, the
The
Vanessa,
Vanessa.
the Vanessa.
I think there's a few. I have a few dark decks at home. That the Necronomicon is another one that is a very dark one, and it depends. But to me, it's all about the shadow side, and unless you're really reading it from a religious point of view, then you should. To be honest with you as well, as a personal experience, I haven't had the devil come out in any reading in a year or over a year. I've had it occasionally for Card of the Day, but I haven't had it come out in any reading for anyone, nor for myself in ages.
Because we're less repressive as a world
Maybe that's
now.
the reason. Well, definitely I'm not repressed, that's for
Because
sure.
the historian devil is.
Because in the Thoth, in my opinion, the devil actually represents freedom, not repression.
Yeah.
And if you think about, the whole 60s and rock and all that stuff, that's the devil in a nutshell, frankly.
So, as a personal question, have you ever worked, any of you, with your shadow side? I know me and Jane have done readings that I created a spread a couple of years ago when I do my New Year ones in the beginning of the year. And I do two, like for the whole month, for the whole year. One with the light deck, one with the dark deck, and then it's light and shadow. So light being what's coming up next year, and shadow being what I'm not aware and what I need to be aware of. Have you ever worked with any shadow? Do you know what a shadow issue is? Have you ever worked with any shadow issues with yourself?
Not consciously, but I think we all do it at some level. Like things always crop up, so that we have to pay. Like it shouts to get our attention on it, and then when we do it, then that's that part of the shadow self resolved.
But you're saying that you know that you've acknowledged it.
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily a deliberate thing you do. I think it's just part of living life. That's my opinion, anyway.
But that was another part of your shadow interpretation of the devil, that a lot of it comes through dreams. And I know, Sonia already know that I am very fixated on dreams, but it is. You repress something, and well, some of us are really dreamers, I am, but we're all different. The issues will pop up into your dreams at some point, either in a way of symbols, scenes, situations that will remind you of that particular shadow issue that you're not facing. So if you have the devil coming out, and on top of that you're getting a certain type of dreams that might go along to that particular question you asked, then you know you really, really need to address the issue, because it's down there and you're repressing it. So, if we one point I was making there was that if the devil appears in a position in a reading for another person, for example, for a person that is influencing you, or for some reason the reading realizes it's like someone else influence over you, then you'll need to address yourself to the shadow side of that person. What are you not seeing in that person? Is there something that they're hiding from you? Is there something that they're changing and you're not seeing, and it's different from what you're seeing? I like the messages of the cards in terms of what your shadow is. So if you had the devil coming out for you, how would you interpret it? How would you feel it? How would you think it influences that particular reading? And I think you should ask the cards that. So if you were to ask today, draw a card from your deck and ask, what is my shadow? And draw a card. What do you think? Can you do that?
Okay. Actually, before you go, it'd be interesting to think about what you think would come up, and then actually do it.
Yeah, absolutely. what do you think? You acknowledged you have a shadow because you've already been seeing,
Yeah.
you know, what it is. So,
Yeah.
if you haven't acknowledged or never thought of it before, then what do you think it would be? Think of a card that would represent your shadow, write it down, and then draw one and see what
Yeah.
comes out.
I probably have the death reversed.
That's it. Now I'll do it myself.
What would that one be?
Mine would probably be the devil, I think.
Have I got? Is my devil still around
In
there?
what sense? In the positive or negative light?
Negative, definitely.
Be not being able to,
Thank you.
what, being too tied down?
I have
No,
a method called
no,
that
it's
is
obsessive,
so
too
brutally
tempted.
honest that I got so
Out
used
of
to
control
bring it out.
sometimes.
Like a normal Virgo.
Okay, I
Yeah.
understand.
Not a problem.
That's
Okay,
my
and-
shadow side.
Or
That's
if I
not
want-
necessarily
at
shadow.
First, when I began
Because,
reading, I'd want to change the card, and the same card would pop up.
Hard to explain. I don't think that would be a shadow. Because
Alright.
that's something you
Just
express
ask what is my
normally.
shadow and
It's,
get go. What is my shadow?
And also because it's something that can be used to, in a productive way, in a way. It's not a.
Okay, Heather, sorry.
Okay.
I'm doing
Right, okay, my shadow side then I think would probably be the seven of
exercise. I was
swords.
saying, if you've never worked the
Okay.
shadow before, or even if
That
you
makes
have,
sense.
how about
That card
thinking
actually
of
came
what
up
do you
with
think your
someone-
shadow is in terms of tarot?
My cousin
Write
I
it
did a
down.
reading for,
What card do you think
because
of
he's a
in terms of
Virgo
shadow?
as well, actually.
Oh
And then
right,
just
okay.
random by asking what is my
That's
shadow?
lots of us
And see what
around.
comes out.
Yeah.
What would yours be, Henry?
I'm trying to think. What I think it would be. It would be
Your shadow side, I took my shadow side to be my worst quality, and I would think seven of swords
Yeah,
for me.
what is your shadow at the moment,
I
at
think I know
this
what it is.
moment in
10
time?
points.
What is your shadow?
Okay.
I'm still thinking that reversed.
I think.
I actually don't, I don't do reverses, but
okay.
yeah, but that's fine, yeah, that's reverse this. So if you just all draw one,
Eight of discs,
and what did you think it would be?
five of swords.
Five of swords. That's totally different.
No!
So do you
Sorry?
quietly work
I
too
took
hard
tower
without letting
reversed.
on?
Tower reversed, and what did you think it would be? Death reversed.
Work,
But
really
still,
work
the card's
too
about change.
Yeah,
Right,
So,
letting on.
I'm there. I'm there.
hard.
That's the 8 of discs, isn't it?
Heather?
Temperance.
Maybe.
Temperance
I was
and what?
thinking five of
It could also be that you're not
Five of
decisive.
That would be
Yeah.
Ace of Swords.
And you were
Close.
That's maybe why you relate to the Five of Swords, because it's feeling of not being able to do
Jane?
stuff that you want to do.
I thought, actually mine was quite close, I thought the 7 of swords was my shadow side, I got 6. So I'm approaching my shadow
You're
side.
approaching it.
Clearly I'm well on the way to it.
You're on the way to your shadow side.
My shadow is really
This is
high.
nothing to be proud of. What did you get?
Queen of Wands.
Wow.
Hey, that's not bad from what you thought, actually, is it?
What
Well,
did
no,
you
although it's the
I thought it
opposite.
was 10 of Wands.
Ten of Wands, Queen of Wands.
No,
Interesting,
it
we got some close ones.
makes sense.
So you've got one card of doing
Well, she's
nothing,
a
another
good
card
card.
of somebody who does everything. Or who gets it
Well,
going.
but she does it in a sort of calm way, but at the same time she's also impatient.
You don't
this
mess
is-
with her.
Think that this is what you don't acknowledge. So perhaps, and I think we talked about this before, I can't remember under what circumstances, perhaps you're actually not using yourself, that's the wrong word to use, but you're not using yourself to your full potential, you're holding back. And I think we were talking about this in the reading we did with the intuitive thing last time actually.
Yeah.
That you're holding back and not expressing to the full. I think it's shadow, this is shadow. So
Yeah.
this is, the Queen of Wands is very radiant, is very active, is very energetic, very passionate.
Yeah.
What is it that you're holding back? We get in there afterwards with the other spread anyway, so you probably
Okay.
get some clarification on that.
Okay.
You got the Tower reversed, which you said Death reversed, and that's brilliant. You, however, was very different. Was the Eight of Pentacles,
yes.
and you thought Five of Swords. shadow is the Eight of Pentacles. I'm thinking overworking for some reason, but
Or putting yourself into work.
yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Or
Now-
you need to work.
It seems to me to be to do with experiencing the kind of the world and sensation and things on a more of a mental level instead of
Very
actual
earthy
kind
card.
of- Yeah, the mercurial.
A small steps, small steps.
Not quite.
No, I think what you're mistaking as a weakness is just caution, and it's I don't know it's not that you're unable to do what you do. It's just you yourself are hesitant to do it, and maybe you just have that confidence to say actually I can and just do it.
Yeah.
I say.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And Temperance you got?
What did you think, Heather?
I thought 5 of Cups.
So that's quite a long way from
Yeah,
temperance.
quite away from Temperance. Temperance is a shadow. Gosh.
Wait, temperance is the one you think, or the one you?
No, the one
No,
she
Five
drew.
of Cups was
It's
what
the
she
hour.
thought, and Temperance is what she got. Temperance is a shadow, is an imbalance. It's not acknowledging the balance as it is. What it is that your subconscious is trying to juggle with, almost the two pentacles like, and you're not juggling. I think.
Rennie, what did you think? Rennie?
Eight of Swords.
Is that your predicted or actual?
I didn't predict because I was so excited.
And do you think that feels right?
But now you got mine.
Oh, sorry, Henry.
My shadow side is the sun.
Wow.
Oh, well, you say you like the dark stuff. That's got to be, that's
You need
just
to keep in
like,
touch with your light.
I need to keep my light shining. Now, also, I think this, funny enough, someone posted on Facebook yesterday a completely unrelated question about having the sun in a similar position. And my response was, you're depleting your energies. You're wasting energies on stuff that is worthless. You're wasting energy and not focusing on where you should put the light on. Which I think is where I'm a bit closer. So I think the sun is the shadow, is that perhaps you're giving out too much light. I'm giving too much. And you're not acknowledging it because you're happily traveling along. And by the time you're done, you've already given it out, and that's it. The energy is gone. It's energy. The sun is, to me, the sun is always energy. Beautiful,
Warm.
beautiful, warm, light energy. So if you get it as a shadow, you're either giving out too much of it, or, as Henry said, you need to get in touch with it more.
Are you sure too much of yourself?
Sorry?
Are you sure too much of yourself? Like you don't keep
No boundaries.
no boundaries, no shadows, no hidden places.
Perhaps.
Could it be that you're kind of taking life as it sort of goes along and not having a set goal to move towards in a way?
Wouldn't that be a fool?
Yeah.
No, well, they are related.
Or are you holding yourself back in any way?
That's a good one. Yeah. Because this is don't forget we're thinking left brain most of the time. So you got this as it's not a reversed, it's not a negative meaning. It's just your own personal subconscious shadow. So the sun representing in tarot as light energy, energy generally that is very forward and positive. And being in bliss, being warm.
Yours is actually quite
This
interesting.
doesn't necessarily
Sorry?
means it
Yours is actually quite
negatively,
interesting.
but it's just that what is it that you are hidden, repressed and hidden of this energy? That I thought yours was quite perhaps spot on.
I believe he's saying
What
this
you just said.
because I sort of know you.
But-
It might be is that you're slightly
Sorry?
the obsession with wanting things to go the way they are, then gives you the impression that
Imagine if you turn this into your light side.
Yeah.
unachievable
Because it takes
in a way.
courage to be,
It's too hard.
get your,
Maybe just
give
letting
of
go.
yourself and not be afraid of, am I going to get back?
Yeah.
Or am I
Again,
giving
might be
too
biased.
much?
No,
Hey,
it's
this is
true.
who I am.
It's
and
the
I'm gonna be
eternal question, and that's me. I mean, I might be
Yeah.
non-shy and forward and all that, but if you perhaps maybe Jane knows very well, but it is me. It's always questioning the amount of time. If I had a pound for all the time that I asked myself a question and hesitated to do something that it's perfectly, absolutely fine, I'd be a millionaire. So perhaps the sun is saying that the shadow side is keeping holding back, holding the energy back, not using it to the full extent.
It could also be like all the sides of being in the limelight. You are seen, you are in warm light, but at the same time you are vulnerable because
It could also be the balance of the two, being like, for example, standing up here now, but at the same time being perfectly comfortable and sitting at the back. There's always a duality. Remember, the shadow and the devil's duality is the balance of both.
I think it's
The shadow is the side of yourself that you don't acknowledge.
Yeah. We don't acknowledge or even you may know about it, you don't like it.
Express, and it should just
you know,
go.
like you have so much to just,
Yeah.
but you're like so.
Things you feel guilty
maybe.
of.
Is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think just go.
Is it okay? Should I do it? Should I do it this way? No, I should do it that way.
But see,
Oh, maybe
by
wait
holding-
tomorrow.
But by holding back, you don't get to see Anton in the way you were meant to be.
Okay, well, I'll take that into consideration, and you guys take yours as well. Now, I had a spread that I blogged about ages ago, and I lost the notes and I lost the blog. I looked for it the other night for a few hours, and I could not find it. And I know I do have it because I do shadow spreads. But the only one I could find was the one I was talking about earlier, the New Year's Eve one. So, it's really simple to do anyway. You have taken note of your cards, the ones that you got. If you wanted more clarification, and it doesn't have to be a specific question, it can be a question still about your shadow. Okay, so you're all here today. You all have, I'm assuming, issues that might be either